Adversity, bring it. The struggle, we welcome it. Snooze on life, never that. We are Dave Regina and Mike Pirelli, and this is the No Snooze Podcast. Come on. Welcome back, No Snooze Podcast. This one's a big one, boys. Episode 100. Claudio, enter the claps in. Crowd goes wild. I am here with the best three in the game. I have my partners, my brothers, my founders, my owners of the No Snooze Podcast and No Snooze brand. Michael, the show Pirelli, Claudio, the voice Valenzuela, and I am Dave, the Dominican body, Regina, back and fresh from Dominican Republic. If you notice the tan, Mikey.
I do notice it. It looks like you didn't stay on your diet.
Yeah, I know. Feeling a little thicker.
If you did, you would have came back with the tan and you could have competed.
That's true.
You wouldn't even have to rub this stuff on.
Yes. Before we get into any episode, details about a reflection, looking back on the past 2 years almost of 100 episodes.
It's got to be more now.
Which is wild.
It's more.
Yeah, a little more than 2 years.
Right? Since
January.
Episode that didn't air. We should probably release those.
Yeah, right. 10
episodes. So that's like 10 weeks.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, 2 years later, we now have amassed a beautiful community, a beautiful following. It's not possible without all of you guys. So we definitely just want to say thank you for the support. Whether you've listened to one or all 100, we literally couldn't do it without you guys. So we're extremely grateful for you. And I would be remiss if I did not thank publicly the three women in our lives that allow us to spend so much time and energy into the No Snooze Podcast. So thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Dana. And thank you to my lovely wife, Karina. I covered all of us, boys, right?
Good delivery.
There we go.
How long did you practice that one?
No, it was
pretty good.
That was just off the cuff, but I knew that I have a little thing here. It says, thank you, wives.
Yeah. Yes. Big thanks.
Right? Seriously. Because when you're building something.
Although we did kick them off the show. They started taking our ratings and we're like, never again.
Yes. When you're building something from an idea, which is really what we did, you don't realize the amount of time and effort and energy that goes into making something. It's very easy to quit on things like this.
I do have a memento that I can grab in my car if you can ramble for like 2 minutes.
A memento?
I have a memento.
Memento? What is
What's
that?
it called?
Like a memento candy?
Something you take with you. Memento, right? Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, go ahead.
You got 2 minutes?
Yeah, I got 2
run,
minutes.
Run.
Go ahead.
Guys, we're live.
So I will say this while Michael is not here, but I want to give a special thank you to you two guys. Claudio, the voice, Valenzuela, behind the cameras, who makes it all possible. And then to my co-host, who is no longer sitting next to me. Without these guys, honestly, No Snooze does not exist. I know you see the posts and all that stuff about, being in the gym and in business and in life, but it's extremely valuable to have two individuals that you're able to communicate with and basically speak about the uncomfortable things that aren't typical in friendships. So that's all about Mike. He's the worst guy in the world. And Michael, enter back in, man.
That was my last. I just left for it.
And just left.
Just never came back.
That would have been really good. So Michael went to the car.
Yeah,
he had a Mentos. I think it's a mint or something. Is that what it is? What is a Mento?
An idea sparks in your head and it's pretty good. I gotta go do it.
I'm hoping that
about when you were talking about the origin, right?
Yes.
Do you remember the first story ever of when we started talking No Snooze?
Well, that's kind of what I would like to, we'll transition into that. I do want to give a origin story of the entire, coming about of No Snooze, if those who, are just tuning in or maybe just tuned in episode 50, episode 75. So you want to start on basically the whole story?
Well, I think it's important to tell people how the idea came about and how sometimes you got to talk about things as if they exist already.
Yes.
And you're at a food place celebrating and you reach it. Is that what you're going to talk about?
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of want to tell the whole origin story. So I think before we got there,
got
right?
there.
Didn't
we
I
didn't get anywhere there.
No, I know. But before we show that, there was a couple I guess conversations that happened. So, Mike was my real estate agent and was able to find us our house that we currently live in. I've told that story many times. So Mike and I are basically doing the final walkthrough of our house. That was actually the same day that we're going to speak about
Correct.
that.
Yep.
So I literally remember coming downstairs from the master suite, those 2 stairs right there.
You could say downstairs, literally 2 steps.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. And you were on the island, I believe, in the kitchen.
Yep.
Right. And I said, Mike, you want to start a podcast? Right?
Yeah, and you remember what I said?
I believe you said.
I was like, "What?"
Did you say no?
Yeah, I think I said no.
I think you said no first.
Like, I'm pretty busy. Like, I don't know if I could do it.
Right.
And then what was the next pitch?
Basically, I was like, listen, we're both trying to level up in our lives. I feel like you have a lot of knowledge and inspiration in terms of like the whole financial piece. And, I really take this fitness mindset seriously and apply it to the business world. So like maybe we can start an idea called Fitness and Finance.
Yeah.
Mike was like,
which looking back, probably the better idea as far as like
right.
people understanding what the hell we talk about.
Right.
So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So then we're there and he was basically like, oh, I like that. Like you throw up an Instagram.
Yeah.
Right?
So in my head, I'll give you my perspective. He's telling me this and I'm like, oh, it's pretty cool. Like, I do need to get my fitness back on track. Like at that point in my career, I literally put everything I had into real estate to try to get off the ground. And to the point where I canceled all gym membership, canceled all monthlies, like literally was bare bones. So when you talk to me, I'm like, oh, it's pretty good. Like I really need to get my fitness like organized. And then.
Yes. So then it was like, all right, I love the idea. But if and he put it back on me in a way, I don't know if he knew it was intentional or not.
I thought I do that all the time with stuff. And I'm like, yeah, just like send me a date and we'll set it up. And people never follow up.
Right. So we were basically like, well, how do we start? Like, what do we do? Right. And this is before we even had any like microphones or anything like that, because I'll get to that side of the things in a minute. So the first thing I guess we thought about was like an Instagram account. All right, if you're going to do this, like we got to create an Instagram account. So Mike goes, create an Instagram account. And like, I'm in. So I'm like, say less.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And literally the next day, I believe, I threw up an Instagram account and I started like following every single human that was on Instagram.
So that has been kind of the trend in my past where there's big commitments in my life that are literally as simple as that, where I'm like, yeah, just throw up an Instagram post. And now looking back, how much work we put into it,
right.
How much time it's taken, how much fun, everything good and bad. You look back and you're like, it was just I said one thing and it just kind of.
Right. So I followed up with that. And then that evening, Dana, Karina, Mike, myself, we go out to dinner because we just closed on our house. Mm-hmm. Right. So that brings us to Fortina in Rybrook. Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. And I believe now you want to share what it is that you brought in.
So as Dave typically does, we're having dinner and he just starts talking about things like with the waiter as if it already exists. That's one of your like specialties.
Yes.
In the past, we've done it a little more lighthearted. This time, he's like, yeah, me and my best friend here, we run a podcast. Like,
but mind you, it was the same day
that he was
we even had the idea.
Didn't do the post yet.
No, we didn't even have an Instagram account.
And he's like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. You give him this like beautiful pitch. Where I'm like, what is he talking about? I couldn't even chime in because I didn't know what the F you're talking about. And the guy's like, yeah, listen, we'd love to have you here. If you want to record, like hit me up and we'll set it up. And he gave us a card that I've kept in my car. You could tell because there's coffee stains on it.
It's weathered.
Gerald Moussaad. What's the guy's last name?
Gerald Massoud.
Our bad. Yeah. We never emailed them. So yes. On one hand, we followed up with things.
Yes.
On the other hand, we did not.
Into this one here? Oh, yeah.
So on one hand, Gerald Moussaad, I won't give him your contact or email, but he sent us his info on this. And we just never followed up. So in my head, I remember thinking like it'd be fun to do a 100th episode with him, but maybe we have to hold out because we kind of ghosted him.
Right. We
gotta see if he still works there.
Right. So if you're actually just listening, Mike is and you're not on the visual on YouTube. Mike is actually holding up the business card that this guy Gerald gave us. Yeah. Because he was so like sold on the idea. So that was that. We had a phenomenal dinner, nice little celebration. Then it came down to like all right, what about the details? Mike is like, well, I got a podcast in terms of Greenwich real estate, but I'm like really not consistent with it. But like all I use is a little.
Yeah, my idea was like I'm talking about real estate all the time. It'd be great to have a little podcast. And my whole theory with everything is just start and figure it out. So I had this little microphone that I just plugged right into my phone. It actually was pretty good. Quality not to what CV can do, but at the time it made sense. I just didn't really stick to it because it wasn't, I don't know, it really wasn't, maybe it was I didn't have the team around me. It just wasn't something that I figured out yet. You know?
Yeah, of course.
So it's interesting how you came with that idea, and I'm like, oh, I've been trying to kind of...
Right. So, but my point in saying that is you were like, yeah, like, you know, we could just plug some mics into the phone. Like, I think I could figure it out because I have been able to record a podcast and basically upload it. Right? And I'm like, nah, man, like, that's not what I have, like, envisioned.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't know you had him in...
Well, I didn't either.
Oh.
So then I'm talking to my buddy CV, Claudio the Voice Valenzuela, and I know he's into photography. Right.
By the way, I love how you say photography. My man is into photography. So I'm like, well, there's a camera involved in there. Like, I know there's no audio, but like my guy will figure it out. Like, I know during some work events, like he knows how to like plug a mic in and like, you know, then I could speak on it. So I know he's like in the game. CV, is this insulting how he's describing how good you are? He said, I know how he plugs a mic in. That's how he's giving you credit.
Listen, he ran the AV division, right?
There you go.
So
That's
I
a good
knew,
way to say it.
But he didn't have any of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm pitching him on the idea. He's like, yeah, it's cool, but like, nah. He's like,
CV, I thought the same thing.
He's like, no. I'm like, listen, man. And you know me, I'm very persistent with my approach. So I believe I had to ask him 4 times, and I don't think it was all in the same day. I think I went back to him over like the course of like a couple days or a week. Yeah. To where like I'm like, you know, maybe even sending him some podcast stuff, like some ideas. I'm like, listen, man, just look into it, like, you know, whatever you need.
What
like,
salesman?
You know, maybe we can just figure it out. But I know, listen, man, you like photography, and like this is using a camera, so like I know there's gonna be a connection here. And my man's like, yeah, no, like I'm good, man. Like I do my photography. I got my wife, my family. I'm good. So I'm like, damn, like, all right, I don't know where I'm at. I do it one final time, and for whatever reason. Maybe you could speak on it. My man said yes.
I would love to hear his side of this.
Right? Go ahead. Jump in, please.
I'm excited. I've never heard this.
No?
I've heard the general, like, I kept asking him, they said no.
Right.
I haven't heard what CV, like, why.
His thought.
Yeah. I'd be curious.
I guess I choose to forget the uncomfortable moments.
He's blocked it out all these years.
I think I remembered, I mean, you know, I don't, when somebody asks you over and over and over, it gets to a point where you just don't want to, I don't want to answer that question anymore. So I guess fuck it.
He wore you down.
He wore me down.
But there had to be some type of like.
Well, I remember the very first time he said it to me, I tried to pawn it off to somebody else. I was like, oh yeah, well, I can bring you this person. You know, they're into that. They have time. No problem. He was like, no, I don't think I want that.
Yeah.
I want you. I want you. And honestly, you know, there is one thing about David. Yes, his persistence is second, I don't think, to anybody's, especially when he wants something. And his constant approach and his salesman tactics are very impressive. He hits you from very different angles, and he does break you down.
Physically, literally.
Physically, mentally, you know, to the point that you're like, all right, it's probably easier if I just say yes than if I have to listen to this for the next 2 years.
Let's hope he flops type thing. Like, let's just hope he gives up.
And, you know, he I think, and this is his skill. His skill set. He is able to find, I'm not going to call it a weakness. He's able to find the thing that's going to turn you. And like, once he figures that out, he starts kind of digging in that, right. In that space. So obviously he knows that I am passionate about these little things. So and I try not to give it up either, because I know when somebody wants something and I'm like, oh,
it makes you not want to give it as more.
Yeah, of course.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
But he pinpoints it very quickly, and then he starts kind of hitting you with that stuff. And yeah, ultimately, it did sound exciting. It did sound fun. And no, I'm lying. That didn't even sound like that. It sounded exciting on my end. Yeah, like the possibility, the new opportunity to learn, right? The skills. That's something that I like.
Nice.
And I think that's what he figured out, and that's how he kind of approached it. Mm-hmm. And eventually, he broke me down, and I said, okay.
I can say on behalf of Dave, thank God, because we are clueless
right when
it comes to any of that stuff, and we needed a anchor to kind of keep us grounded. We were all over the place in the beginning.
Oh yeah, of
and
course.
CV was like, "What are we talking about?"
Exactly.
And I was like, yeah. And he's like,
but then
who's
remember,
gonna listen to this?
Remember, we all went to the diner because then I had to like introduce you guys.
Yeah.
And then we like all kind of hit it off, and then after that, I think everybody was kind of in, and we were like, all right, like we'll figure out a date and a time. And I was like, look, let's just try to get something on the calendar and like try to establish some sort of consistency, which was very hard for us.
So looking back, I thought it couldn't be worse timing, but now looking back, I think it's probably the only timing it would have made sense.
Right.
Because if we had this convo after kids, no way.
No way.
Never would have taken it
I
on.
agree.
If we didn't have the pandemic to kind of figure things out.
Yes.
And like take our time on things and like meet and do all that. You look back at things, you're like, how did that time, it just ended up working out somehow.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
And it also, and this, I'm not saying this for us to be bragging about anything, but the reality of it is if I were to look back in my life 2 years ago, compared to where I'm at now, it's completely different. It's completely different for Mike. It's completely different for Claudio.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you've now, and not because of No Snooze, but No Snooze has been a mindset, at least for me, I could speak on myself, to where every morning I get up, I'm like, wow, okay, like I got to put that work in. I have to progress in life. There's no option, right? So I was in a completely different job. I remember on episode 1, I was speaking about a raise that I got denied from my old job. Mm-hmm. Today, 2 years later, I have a completely different job as a deputy commissioner, right? Which was something that I was chasing. I couldn't even fathom, I guess, where we would have been today, even though we feel like we're still so far away. I probably started this thing at 15% body fat, right? Now the kid is at, we'll talk about that in a minute.
After DR, you might be 15 again.
I know, but we'll talk about that. But like I almost halved my body fat to where I'm at physically, right? I know Claudio, in terms of physically, my man is a different human now. He also, invested in real estate from the time that we started. And again, this is not saying because of the podcast, but if you look at the progression of things, Mike bought an additional house in real estate. We both have children now that are almost 2 years old. Mike has another daughter on the way.
Don't remind me.
It's just, we almost grew up so much over the course of the past 2 years. We've had brand sponsorships. We took a trip down to South Carolina and became extremely close with a huge global brand in tactical baby gear. There's just so much progress over the course of time that when you're in it week to week, you don't even think about like, damn, we put in a lot of time and effort. We made it to a point that it was non-negotiable. Yes, there were weeks that obviously we couldn't record for whatever reason, but we all stuck to the plan and are continuing to stick to it, which I think is just a testament to, us being about that no snooze life in a sense.
I have to say the public aspect of everything we've been doing, no matter what it is, personal, professional, really creates that, like, if you slack, everyone lets you hear it.
Yes.
And there's no hiding from it.
Yep.
Because we're so public that it's like, if I sleep in one day, people are like, did you work out today? And
right.
I'm like, I'm working out tonight. And if I didn't plan on working out, sure as hell going to tell that I am, and then I'm going to go do it. But it's interesting how it all does work out. It's kind of like you ever climb, like you do a hike, and in front of you, it's like
probably done 3 in my life.
You don't think you're like going that far, and then you look back, you're like, wow, like we came up pretty high. Like
hell yeah. And what's great about it is, we're not celebrating 100 and like done. I think this is now the new.
This is the retirement.
This is this is now the new
era
of No Snooze, because I listened back to episode 1 today specifically, while I was working out, and I was just laughing because I'm like, we were terrible.
So
terrible.
Do you like? Here's a question, because I always thought this was interesting. Maybe I have an issue. As a kid, did you like looking at photos of yourself? It's a weird question.
Yeah.
So Dana loves it, right? So now as an adult, she loves looking back at photos when she was little. Mm-hmm. Livy's the same way. For some reason, I hated looking at photos of myself when I was little. I don't know why. Very weird. So now, which people will think really doesn't make sense, with all these shows and things that I do and I'm public, I never rewatch stuff. I watch it one time and I'm done. I don't know why.
Funny.
It's very bizarre.
Yeah. Yep.
And if I wasn't doing the marketing for it and I had like people, doing it, I probably would never watch it.
Watch it.
Nope. It's bad that I say that.
No,
But I take it back. I watch it once to make sure there's nothing egregious.
Right.
Someone didn't miss something, but ultimately it's like one and done.
Yes. No, I see
Which
that.
I don't know if that's good.
I also surprise myself. I'm not gonna lie. Like there's times that
Hilarious.
I do.
I know, but that was such a good thing. I surprised myself.
I do, because when I listen back to things,
You're like, ooh, that's
after
good.
so yeah, I'm like, damn, Mike just spit some fire on this episode that I like in the moment. Maybe I didn't, connect to it exactly, but then when I listen back, I'm like, oh damn, there's some things that I said that I've, posted to Instagram. I'm like, that's good shit.
Yeah.
Like, we've learned a lot, and we've invested a lot of our, personal time into, progressing as men, and family men, to where like I think it all really, got in alignment to where like even our skills, publicly. You have an incredibly successful food show. I believe that, No Snooze had to have helped that in a sense of, you being comfortable, because that's what it's done for me.
Yeah.
Right? Like
everything's complemented each other. And
Right.
it's like pin everyone with all his mentors. If you ever bring in a bag of groceries and it's all on one side,
Yep.
it's harder to carry. But if you have two sides of groceries and you have stuff that's bouncing back and forth, it's much easier, like balance-wise.
Yep.
So everything that we do, from No Snooze to Tell Mike Saying to real estate, all kind of compounds because it's a similar skill set, and I'm just getting more reps.
Right.
And different versions of the reps, right?
Yep.
Which makes me a little more comfortable in different situations, different formats. But it's still growing.
Of course.
But the biggest thing with No Snooze is the energy. Like, I don't think if I was able to figure out, and I'm still figuring it out, but where I am today as far as like processes, working out, getting up in the morning, just mindset stuff has progressed so much from 2.5 years ago, however much. And I don't think I'd be able to deal with like the stress levels and just life in general if I didn't kind of work on it so much for the show.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And then we made it a specific point to basically come up with a topic every week. I don't know about you guys, but I would never be having the conversations that we have on this podcast with really anybody else. And that was also a testament to why I went to Mike originally, because Mike was one of the only ones that we would be speaking about business at 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like most of
after 6 whiskeys.
Right. But it's like, all right, like imagine when, we look back on this, and this is before we were partners and things, imagine when we look back on this and, this, we're not sipping $2 beers anymore. We're sipping on some real high end stuff. So it was just a different type of conversation. So every week we come with a topic. I think it's conversations. We spoke about our relationships. We spoke about our businesses, our failures that have happened over time. Things that we've given up on, things that we want to do better. It's a very selective type of relationship that we've been able to build here on the podcast.
Yeah, I think, and I don't know how you guys feel, I think being able to be like a guinea pig and having the permission to fail, I know you don't like that word, but the permission to stumble.
Yes. Yeah.
Forward on things and like try things, but at the end of the day, it's good content.
Yeah.
There's no downside.
Right.
That was very freeing, where it's like, all right, well, I'm going to try to do this workout thing, and if it doesn't work, it's great content. It's funny. I'm okay with people laughing at my expense. On the other end, it motivates you to do better the next time. So it's kind of like a life hack. It's like if you're documenting things, you're forced to have some type of progress, else it's like you're not entertaining. I mean, maybe we're not entertaining, but
yeah, maybe not. Maybe we're the only ones that play it back. But what Mike was really good at.
Did you see the show I did where I was asking people questions?
Yes, hilarious.
So I think if we did that with No Snooze somewhere, people would be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah. We should go to the city or something. Right.
Literally 0 people who watch were there. It was I was dying laughing because I'm like, I guess we're not that popular.
It was pretty funny. So Mike did an episode of Tell Him Mike Sent You, which is his food show, and he basically did a little spinoff to like where he wanted to hear people's order out loud, and Mike. Every time somebody would walk by, he's like, "You've heard of this show, right?" And they're like, "No."
All they had to do was lie to me. Be like, "Yeah, it's a great show," but they were like, "No, I've never."
So
heard of it.
Mike would look into the camera and be like, "Well, I guess nobody listens. We just play our own stuff back." But you've been instrumental in my life when it comes to that specifically, being able to laugh things off. For whatever reason, I always still almost chase perfection, but now I'm much more accepting of not being perfect in life, and it's an incredibly successful skill to have, because like I'll spend so much time thinking and debating over, do I post this? Is this a good business move? Is this a good investment? Whereas, Mike is very
reckless.
Not reckless. You're okay with making mistakes, which is necessary in life.
Yeah.
Like I needed that, and I'm telling you, you have completely changed my thought process when it comes to that stuff.
Thank you. Likewise, I mean, with the mental stuff and the workouts and just the you have a no excuse Marine type attitude, where before I started this I was pretty laid back. Like I would get things done, but not in the most efficient manner, and definitely have try to retool and take and rub off some things, especially when it comes to body fat percentage. Still working on that. Not be able to get close enough. But so something that I think is interesting is like you have a bigger than life personality, right? Would you say that? I think I do. I think I'm a lot for people.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about that?
But I think I'm tamed.
I think it's a compliment. So, I think, we are, I don't want to lump us together because we're very different people, but we both have very strong personalities when we're in public with people. I came to the realization a while back, like a lot of people aren't going to like me. I hope people do, but I don't care, which isn't, there's no offense, but when you are as public as we are and you do all these things and you're really pushing and really trying to do some stuff, like it's just natural. You're going to get people that rag on you.
Yep. Of
course. It just happens.
Of course.
And I don't know if it's because I'm a young brother. Like I'm so used to getting nagged on with all of my brother's friends like growing up that it was just like second nature. You were probably the one nagging on Matt all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that is like maybe a key difference of growing up where you were like not the popular brother, but you were the brother that was leading the way.
Right.
So Matt was always kind of laughing things off, which his personality is pretty close to that, right?
Yeah.
So I thought about that and I'm like, oh, it makes sense. And but it's it's been a great experience. The older I get and the more we do these and the more we like become a unit, the more I care less about kind of the outcome, and I just care about the process, enjoying the process, and what comes of it. Obviously we want to make it successful, but it's just been very maturing to be involved in all this stuff that's super public.
Yes.
Because you're forced to deal with criticism, you're forced to deal with critique. And even if it's not warranted, you're going to get it. And then you're going to be like, oh, maybe I should improve on that. Maybe I am talking about nothing for 20 minutes, So it's all interesting.
No, hell yeah. I got two questions.
Yes.
That I want to kind of.
I am 16.9%.
No, what would be what's your favorite thing about running the No Snooze podcast?
Ooh.
And I'm nervous we're going to say the same thing, but.
No, I think my favorite thing is the check-ins. Like, I really enjoy checking off the list in the morning, like, all right, I did my workout, and F all you people, I did it. Like, not that people doubt it, but it's fun to check in and kind of let people know you're still there. You're still around. You're still in the game. I like that in the everyday sense. And then other than that, it is fun to talk about these things that you're right, like I would never talk about this stuff.
Right.
Ever. I would literally just put my head down and be like, all right, we're going to make this content, this and that, and like I'm just going to figure it out and kind of have inner dialogue, and I don't think I'll ever, like, even with Dana, we talk about things, but nothing to this deep depth.
Right.
Unless it's something like...
Of course. I think my thing would be, the ability to really provide a platform and be able to comfortably now speak on all of these topics, on business, on fitness, on our relationships. Like, we're married, right? There's been times that we've, I discussed.
See, if I could get rid of that,
things.
I would do no relationship stuff. Right. It'd be all business. And see, that's where we're good compliments because you enjoy that side. I don't really enjoy the inspirational side of everything. Like, my view on everything is if you find inspiration, what I'm doing, great, but that's not like what gets me going. Right. You know what I mean?
Yep.
No, I don't want people to take the wrong way.
No. I think we've heard that. But yeah, for me, man, it's all about the platform, and it really solidified my my desire, I guess, to inspire and encourage, other individuals, because something so silly like just working out in the morning, right? Like that alone just has inspired so many people. And then when they get past the working out thing, like I know even for us, like I've learned to apply this fitness mindset to my scheduling and my calendar, to my consistency in business, to my approach when it comes to sales in terms of even a a debate going back and forth. There's been so many things that now I lump in with the no snooze mindset, and I think you've been able to do the same as well.
Yeah, I definitely have tried to take the organization, the systems, things to give. I've tried to take the discipline and structure to level up, and I'm finding that I have it now, and they're tools, and they're easy to use when I'm in a high stress situation. I've come to the realization that like I'm constantly going to be at a high level of stress. It's just a matter of controlling it and managing it, and organization, discipline, tools in the toolbox are things to manage it.
Right.
The realization that the second child, God's willing, is on the way has really geared me into thinking more of, okay, it's not the end of the world if Livy wakes up at 5:45, 6, and I'm not getting work on in the morning. You just have to get it done at some point.
Right.
So then instead of it's I can, it's how can I attitude, which is very basic, but you need the tools like a home gym, prepped meals, an air fryer, things that I've accumulated and tried out for 2 years to be able to adjust on the fly like that. Your flexibility, which is a dichotomy again that I'm finding in life, your flexibility depends on your discipline, because if you're flexible and disciplined, you can just pivot and everything stays on track.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So like it's kind of like if you're on a train and the track turns. If you're in control, you just turn the train.
Right.
If you're not in control, you go off the cliff.
That's not a good time.
In the past, I've gone off the cliff.
Right. I agree 100%.
So I remember you asked me the other day, I want to hear what CVS say too, but you asked me the other day, you said, what happened last time when you got down to 14? I remember getting down, and it was this time of year, I think.
You're talking about the body fat.
Yep. And I folded like a cheap lawn chair because I did not have things dialed in, and the stress level got to me, and I just couldn't do it all. Whereas this year, so far, we're week in, I think I'm rolling with the punches a little better, and still getting my macros done, still getting my meals in, still getting my workout in, because now I depend on that. Oh.
Jesus, sorry, CV.
TV goes down.
I just kicked the TV.
Because I still depend on that now to deal with my stress.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Least favorite thing about the podcast? You want me to go first? What do you think, or no?
No, I'm ready.
The
The beginning when I was driving, and Dana was pretty pregnant, and having the arguments nonstop of like, where are you? It's late. What are you guys even doing?
We were doing
and
nothing.
I would get home at like 11. We wouldn't put a podcast out. So, and then like, it was at the point in my career where I was somewhat established, but I was still like really grinding at that time and working late hours, weekends. I still do that, but I'm more organized now and I'm a little more in control. But all of that at the same time, at the time, I thought it was worst case scenario timing wise.
Right.
And I might not survive, as far as like, I might not be able to do the podcast. Dana might, never, I don't think she'd do that, but a huge fight, big issue, not allow me to, stuff like that. So the beginning was the hardest part for me, and usually for everyone.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, the beginning, I mean, was a disaster when it comes to that, because literally, I mean, if you haven't heard, we probably recorded, and we tried to record like 8 different times, and we were talking about nothing and everything at the same time.
Yep.
It was very chaotic, and even episode 1, it was definitely our most structured out of those unreleased tapes. But that took us almost like 3 months to figure out. So that was definitely a hard time.
And I was used to doing stuff and it going out,
right,
and at least being like, all right, well, there's progress there. And it was so hard for me not releasing stuff. Hindsight, it was the right move, absolutely. But it was so hard for me to work. I've learned with working with you guys how to work with people, because before working with No Snooze, I would never be able to kind of build my team in the real estate world because I didn't know how to work with people. I literally was on my own all day. I didn't talk to people.
Mike was a loner.
Clients. No, but if you think about it, like how many coworkers do you see throughout a day?
Yeah, I mean,
like how many?
Couple 100 on some days.
CV, what's like your average? A high day for me is 4.
Right.
I could be in a car at houses by myself all day.
Yep.
So communicating with people on a teamwork basis, I'm not on any teams anymore or anything. Like I don't have to figure out that skill. And that really was hard in the beginning to refigure and not be so like, this is how I do this works type thing. I want to hear CV too. Don't forget about his favorite and worst.
Yes, yeah. We'll definitely. You want to jump? You want to do your favorite before I do my
his
least
favorite's
favorite?
Clearly me, right? Like my favorite's dealing with Mike day to day. Worst is Dave.
Yeah.
So my favorite is kind of what happened at the beginning of this episode, where we kind of within 5 minutes had a grandiose idea, and seriously, and I know it's kind of maybe for you guys it's not the same, but for me it was the problem solving aspect of figuring out my techie stuff. That's probably the good moments for me. I like those moments.
You thrive in those.
Yeah, he does. Honestly, so no joke. Just to speak
like
on
South Carolina
on that, dude.
We throw him curveballs.
Well, listen to curveballs. Just the other day, like, and he runs like, extremely large like jazz festivals, and he's behind the scenes, and he's able to like, plug 6 different bands into, this whole sound system that's astronomical.
That gives me so much anxiety.
But even the other day, like we were in the gym with a couple hundred people, right? A couple hundred people for a Mother's Day event, and the audio started to like crap out, right? Like the video was kind of playing, but the audio started to crap out. I was getting so anxious, right? And I was literally watching him. And my man was literally telling people, hold on one second, because people then started coming to the table, what's going on? What's wrong? Yo, get the audio right. Sat there, calm, cool, collective, and was able to figure it out. That is a ridiculous skill. I was so nervous. My hands were sweating. Not to mention I was on the screen that was paused. But but it was just so cool to watch him. And I'm like, yo, that's my guy.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's about, figuring that type of shit out,
And my least favorite is it was kind of in the beginning when we didn't have a studio per se. And we would be going from different place to different place.
Yeah.
And on my end, that meant hauling all this gear, setting it up, breaking it down, and back on the forth. Yeah. Since we've landed in our little, home studio, as small as it may be, it's been tremendously an improvement and much easier to just be able to just arrive, and it feels like professional because you just kind of it's there, it's set up. It's not,
professional. Though.
So
people asked me the other day, I swear to God, no joke.
What?
I said, listen. How much do you rent your studio out for?
You should just start taking and send them through the Bilco door.
It was just so funny, man. Like, because exactly what you're saying is true. Like, you made it to the point that it's an official studio. Like,
I have a request.
What it is.
Can we make a pact before we hit episode 150?
Mm-hmm.
Let's get some recliners or something. These chairs kill my rear end.
I like it. The only thing I'm worried about is the
that's in hopes to keep the short episodes a little shorter.
That's true.
We're
the
failing.
Slouch, like the slouch. But I might be a little. I guess if I'm like in a nice little chair, wouldn't mind it. Yeah, I'm down.
Okay,
let's commit.
And maybe another table.
I'm in.
Nothing wrong with this table. It looks like something from like Pirates of the Caribbean that they twist and the thing comes out of.
Is that a movie? Or?
It's vintage.
Is that what that
We've
is?
been listening to audiobooks. Me and Livy have been listening to audiobooks to go to bed. Dana warms her up with real books or pictures. Yep. And then I come in, I lay on the ground, hold her hand. We listen to Harry Potter on audiobook.
Oh.
I'll stream you in so you can hear all the good stuff.
I can hear stuff.
We'll start you slow.
My least favorite would still, believe it or not, be the doubts that creep in. It's like I was listening back to an episode a while ago, and it was a goals episode, not our first goals episode, but like in the year. And I remember saying like by January, I want to be here, and I want to be at like 25,000 followers on Instagram, and I want to be at a certain number of reviews, which we've all come up short on those things.
Still blown away by how many followers.
Right.
Still blown away.
But now looking back, like we're at 20,000 followers. Yes, it's not 25,000 and it's specific to the goal. But that's the whole difference between failing and falling for me.
No, we failed.
No, because we made extreme progress. Like there's no way
you could fail and make progress though. Let's not do this.
Yeah, we're not going to.
This is a reunion of episode 1.
Yes.
Episode 1, if you want to listen back, we literally argued about this
about
for
the
an hour.
same thing. Yes.
See,
exactly
we're
right.
That was good.
We're good.
We're good. All right, never mind.
You win.
Thanks. I'll take the W.
You see, I've been able to woosah, but later I'm gonna fuck you up.
Jesus Christ.
No, so the doubts, the doubts that creep in. It's like, you wish you could be, monetizing a little more in certain aspects. But I do believe now, looking back, had to solidify, because we all want things immediate, you know. We really do in life. That's just what we're addicted to, the immediate gratification versus delayed gratification. And I still believe to get to any sort of level like that, you have to be able to prove to not only yourself but everybody else that you're doing business with that this is a solidified thing that is only progressing forward. So you know, the doubts that still creep in are my least favorite part, you know, of what we do.
I actually had I was thinking yesterday about kind of this topic. So there is a time with a listing, right? Where you price the property, you get the deal, and you're getting ready to market it. And right before you're about to put in the market, you're like, did I do everything in my
right?
But I don't know what I can compare it to. It's kind of like getting ready for a game, but it's a little different. It's very vulnerable feeling. And I can only imagine it's like if you put a book out or you put so much work and then the public's it's like an episode, but a little more. The stress level is a little high. So I remember thinking like that doubt that I constantly have gets me to a point where when I go live, yes, I'll still have some doubt, but I have worked so hard to get it to that point that doubt is warranted, but it doesn't matter because the amount of work you do. So like if I didn't have that doubt and wasn't nervous about it before, that would be a bad thing, I think. Like if you go into a fight in the cage for UFC and you're comfortable, those guys get knocked out usually.
Yes. Because
their hands come down, they're too comfortable. So I was thinking about it the other day.
Yes, great point. And you know, if you the things that I read in my life in terms of personal professional growth and development always say that, you know, and there's always going to be a point, even when I public speak. Like it doesn't matter how many podcasts we do, every single time I get up, even if it's a little event with a couple hundred people at it, little event with a couple hundred people, but that sounds like an oxymoron.
Pretty good.
You know, but like to where I'm just greeting people, I still get like, you know, sweaty and, you know, I get a little nervous, but then as soon as I start, then it goes away. Yeah. So I think it's just a normal, definitely a normal thing. But I think that feeling and the doubt really, you know, hinders a lot of people from moving forward. What I think is the game changer for things like that is being able to develop your personal habits, systems, and routines, because then you're able to work through that uncomfortable moment, right, over and over again.
We wanted to take a quick second to let you guys know that we partnered with our good friends over at Orgain.com. We're happy to offer our listeners 30% off by entering the code NoSnooze30. Again, that's NoSnooze30 for 30% off your first order. If you're on the market for a new protein powder, nutritional shake, protein bar, or Mike's favorite, collagen peptides, Orgain is your one-stop shop. As all of you know, my Crohn's disease is currently in remission, and the only protein I use is from Orgain. My personal favorites are the chocolate peanut butter and the vanilla bean. With the code, you can try a 2-pound tub for under $20. Talk about not snoozing. Go get yours today. Now, back to the epi.
I have some analytics, man, that are just really cool that I didn't even, I opened up Anchor for the first time in like.
We still have an Anchor?
Like months. And it's literally, yeah, I agree. We've been streamed in 52 countries and counting.
How many countries have you traveled?
Which is wild. Countries, like 3. This guy, he's a world traveler.
He's the one doing them.
Yeah. He got us to listen in, where'd you get us to listen? Spain. Yeah.
Nice.
But I mean, some of the countries, honestly, like I'm not being funny, but I've never heard, like, why are you streaming No Snooze Podcast and Turks and Caicos?
To be honest, it probably came up. And they were like, oh, this
right,
is interesting.
But that's just a wild thing. We've had, you know, our top 3 listen days ever for the No Snooze Podcast. Got to be something about February. So February 19th of 22, which is pretty recent. There was 893 streams in one day.
It's pretty good.
It's a lot. Like 893 people are sitting there, or Mike is sitting there 893 times on different devices.
You know it's not me.
On different devices streaming it. February 2nd of 2021, so a year, you know, prior, there were 776 plays.
It's pretty good.
Right? In one day we're talking about.
It's pretty good.
And then October 14th of 2021, there was 755 plays.
I'm assuming this is a yes, but are we trending upward on the listens?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I don't really look at the analytics.
Yeah.
So it's funny with like the real estate stuff. I look at everything because I have to. Now that you're like leading the charge with that stuff, it's nice because you just kind of communicate it. And I'm like, are we doing good? And you're like, yeah.
No, it's cool, man.
Simple.
You know, there's definitely what I've noticed. There's always a delay. Like I just noticed when I reopened that, when I opened I guess I opened it a couple weeks ago when we last dropped to just see that it uploaded, because he uploads it like the night before. And I remember looking like 5 or 6 episodes back, and that number grew like astronomically. So maybe people, wait a couple weeks, and you have multiple podcasts in your realm and in your rotation. But it's just incredible. Then I was looking at our listeners, and basically what No Snooze is about is like, progressing forward in life and not snoozing on your life in its entirety.
And fitness and finance.
Right, and fitness and finance. So it just makes sense. But our listeners range in age from 16 to 65, and 88% of the people listening are aged 23 to 44.
Wow.
Right? So it's literally we've been able, that proves to me that we've been able to target the demographic that we were going after. If you're 75 years old and you're, trying not to progress,
that's who I was hoping for.
That's good. That's great.
It's not
but
too late.
Really what we're doing is you're taking people in their, teens, 20s, 30s, and 40s who are looking to level up in their life. And those are the people that are consuming our content. So I thought it was just a really cool thing, not to mention on Instagram. I mean, any video that goes out, we're getting 5, 10, even 15,000 views on. Which is just it's cool to look back on.
I was gonna say I think the most impressive thing on my side that I see that we did is we've really created like a brand that people recognize. Like people will yell "No Snooze" at us, and like, which I think it's hilarious. I still find it very funny when people yell stuff at you. I'm just like, that's so aggressive, but I love it.
Yes.
And when people see the symbol, they think of us. We've had a lot of people rock the outfits. Like, I think we're in a position where if we stay in the game, which we will, there'll be opportunities that we're not even aware of now.
Correct.
We'll look back and be like, oh, that made sense. Why didn't we? So it's fun to see how it's become. Like, I look at my closet. I literally have No Snooze outfits. I got to get some new ones because they're falling apart, but I'm hemorrhaging money. No Snooze outfits, suits, and then a little bit of casual, but majority is No Snooze.
Yes,
which has been fun because I'm like, oh, how did that happen?
And then even our friends
20
and stuff,
sweatshirts.
Yes, even our friends and stuff, like, people that maybe you wouldn't think are getting hoodies or something, like, no matter where we go, there's a No Snooze hoodie in the building.
One of the funniest things too is my father-in-law rocks No Snooze hoodies, and then occasionally I'll see Chris in the same No Snooze hoodie. He's like, I stole it from him, but he's got to really like the sweatshirt to steal it. So that's like a vote of confidence from him.
Yes.
And then brother Bill's got it. Frank's got it. Like, all the friends have the gear, and we're at a point where they don't even acknowledge anymore.
Right.
They just are wearing it.
Yes.
That I think's more fun to see than people be like, look, I got No Snooze on.
Correct.
Because it's more in their. It's in their repertoire.
Right. Yeah, right. That's 100% right. That's a phenomenal point, because I was looking back at like our highlights on Instagram, and there was one time that when we first dropped the merch, everybody's posting boom, No Snooze, No Snooze, No Snooze. Then it becomes such a rotation in your closet.
People are just wearing it.
Right. Like, you're not posting your Nike stuff the 80th time you wear it.
Yeah.
Right. So it makes sense. So then when you see a new purchase, something, you're like, oh, well, that's cool, because it's a completely different person. And it's really cool to look back at. And I think we get lost. I know I do. We get lost in the day-to-day stuff. You're like, damn, man, like, looking back, if you ever take a real minute to look back, you're like, shit, like, we're not doing that bad.
Yes.
So it's really cool. You heard that?
Yeah.
A little wheeze.
Going down.
No. Want to touch on,
a little wheezy.
I guess a little current situation that's going on as I flex my deltoid, Davey deltoids in the building. So, Mike and I, specifically, we put out some body fat goals. Yep. Last year, I was able to accomplish 10% and got a little under 10%. I believe it was like 9.7 or something like that.
It was nice.
Pretty good.
Good thing I didn't bet on this goal, by the way.
Yeah. So then, this year I climbed up the ladder again. I guess I got all the way up to 12.7, which happens
Did you
quick.
climb up the ladder or you go down the ladder?
No, I climbed up. What do you mean?
You went down and whatever it was.
No, like at the end of the year, I finished at like 9.7.
I love arguing with you about something.
Well, no,
explain.
explain.
It's good. It's good. Go ahead. I don't want to mess up your flow.
Yeah, so like at the end of the year, I was 9.7% body fat.
Yep.
But then like January, I'm not gonna lie, the holidays came around. I got COVID. The Big O, which are Oreos, they crept in my diet every single day, 3 a day to the face. I wasn't really monitoring, my diet in that sense. Monday through Friday, I'm always clean. But that's been my life forever.
You know what's funny? You being like bad, having 3 Oreos probably makes so many people so mad. Like, I was really bad. I had 3 Oreos a day.
Well, no,
like,
but it was.
I'm eating packs of Oreos. Don't give me 3 Oreos a day.
It was one. Again, it was a difference though for me, because then I was like, wow, like I was really focused the whole year to come in under 10%. So then I crept up the ladder, because then I went up to 12.7%. Hit up my boy Ambrosio. He's the real body.
He's real
Castellana for real. You know, and I sought out some mentorship and some coaching when it came to, you know, getting the physique that I'm looking for. So of course I'm arguing back and forth with CV and Mike, and they're like, all right, you already got 10%. Like, what's next? And I'm like, I'm good. Like, you know, I'm happy with the way I look. Like, come on, like 8%?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, fuck. All right, fine.
It's for the show.
8%. Fine. Like, whatever. So just recently, and we're how many months in? 5 months into the year, I was able to get from 12.7% down to 7.4%.
It's a lot.
And you know, I can show the before and afters.
Congratulations.
But it happened.
You're an asshole. No,
but it happened, and you know, it's cool to look back on. But honestly, it means nothing. I posted about it. I'm not a bodybuilder.
It means nothing.
Yes,
you take that picture forever. When your kids get older, you say, I was at 7.
No,
I would lie. I'd be like, this was 5% body.
I don't want to be that guy. I want to still be that guy that's 75 with a cigar in my mouth and just yoked.
Yeah, but if you're yoked, but you're like 12 and then you're talking junk, and they were like, no, Dad, no way you're at 7%. You have it teed up. You got receipts.
Right. But then I went to, you know, Dominican Republic, and I got to weigh in again, because I definitely crept back up to,
Why would you do that to yourself?
8.5.
You just want to
9.
show people how you can retain water?
How I can, get all the way up. But no, man, my muscle increased a lot. I was like 126.5 pounds to be exact of muscle.
But who's counting?
I like 233.7 pounds, but who's counting? So it was cool, man. I you know,
proud of you.
I accomplished
Good
that,
work.
You know,
well, we still have a bet on the table on
right.
my side, so
Yes.
don't get too excited because you're about to pay up.
Because I'm about to pay up. You have updates in terms of PodBod?
So I think the last time we checked in, I was at 17.9 or something.
Yeah.
Was that what it was?
High 17s.
High 17s?
Yeah.
So I must be like in marketing, right? Like in real estate, you try to get, if you get a listing, you want to get it a little below so it looks a little more attractive. And that's what's happening in my scales, because I weighed in at a nice 16.9.
Sweet 16.
I'm in Sweet 16. I was very excited about that because I didn't know what to expect.
It's 2 weeks ago though now, so you might be lower.
I am lower.
You are lower.
I saw
lower.
saw my riblets.
My riblets.
Is that what they call it?
Sounds like I want to put those on a grill. A riblet? I've never heard of a riblet.
I saw my riblets. I'm like, what are those?
I saw my
What are those?
My
and I
riblets.
weighed in today, so I weigh in every day. I don't really care as long as it doesn't go up, because my thought is like I can't be building that much muscle. I'm not Dave Regina. So as long as it's not like skyrocketing up and maybe I'm trimming off a little, then I'm in good shape, because I know I'm eating at a deficit. I'm working out.
Yep.
I feel stronger. I mean, incline bench has been very good with my shoulders.
Can we talk about that?
Great form, huh?
A great form, but you had a belt and straps on for your incline bench.
Straps were just hanging. That was from pull-ups.
What are we doing?
I'm getting yoked. What do you mean?
What are we doing though? Why do we have costumes on?
What was that?
Like, is this
Because that gets me in the mood.
Does that get you motivated?
No,
like,
belt.
you just
So
put a
I was
costume on?
watching. Some dude was like, "I'd wear a belt on bench because it's one of the more injury-prone."
Yeah, he's got a weak lower back. That guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen, when I'm benching 500 pounds, we'll see.
Yeah. Which, by the way, you know, the other little goal is going to be that 400-pound bench press, which I'm going to smash. But
I thought you redid that. How about we set a hard
395? Oh my
You're
god!
already
Here we
at
go.
380.
Here we go.
You're like, I'll bench 400.
20 pounds on a high bench press.
My bench was at 230, and I'm trying to go 400.
Yeah, but you
go
went,
800 pounds.
You
Dave.
went from you're trying to go from a sloth to a lion.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, that's a big jump. That's what I'm saying.
That's extremely hard to do.
Yes.
I understand. But when you're already a lion, like, what are you going for?
To be like, I don't know. That's a good question.
Right? You get what I'm saying? Like, so it's hard to sustain the lifestyle
already.
that I do sustain already.
I get that all, but
And
let's set a big goal.
Let's set a big goal.
It's not my fault you didn't fall off for a while.
I listen,
more fun.
I know. I just
so what is we got 500? I'm putting 500 up to win 800.
to win
correct?
8. Yep.
Split both ways. 10 under 10 two
Two
weigh-ins
weigh-ins
in August.
Yes.
Damn, that baby better stay in there. Because if she little mama comes in beginning of August, trouble.
I heard there might
I might not eat for a week.
there might be another one
And two
behind
weigh-ins, I
that
could
you
do-
guys haven't seen.
I could
There's
do
going to be
two-
twins coming out.
2 weigh-ins in a row, right?
Yeah, that's good. That'll be
I'm
great.
gonna do August 1st, Monday,
and done.
back to back. Monday, Tuesday, way and done.
Yep. And then CV, I want you to jump in here, but just to paint the picture for those who may not have known, same type of thing. Like CV gets after it in work specific ways. His work ethic is very unmatched when it comes to his level of output and production in terms of making things happen. But the one piece that I will say, I'm not trying to be rude, but I think he was lacking the motivation. It's the reverse of me. I for a long time was taking the fitness approach and not applying it to business or any of that stuff, whereas he had that business mindset and wasn't applying it to himself, right? Always providing for others before he was taking care of himself. So I put out something.
And in CV's defense, too, and in my defense, because I feel like we're talking a little bit about both of us, is you have priorities, and we were just doing things a little backwards.
Not that it's wrong. Yeah, no, that was just your style.
Yes.
Right.
And I don't know where you were coming from. At one point in my life, I literally sacrificed it all to try to make it in a field that's very difficult. And I was like, I'll figure it out later. And that's my thought but after dealing with you, realizing that you need a base of energy and health, because if you don't have health, you can't get the wealth.
Right.
So
I'm
defending us.
I spoke on CV and I'm like, listen, man, you got to lose 50. Like, I think that's the challenge. You got to lose 50 pounds. And he was like, yeah, all right, like that's not my goal. That's your goal. Right. And now I will turn it over to CV, who for a while, he didn't really progress in that direction. But now today, on the 18th of May, my man looks like a completely different human being. CV, talk to us.
So yes,
his pause between when he talks.
Well, because I can't do multiple things at once. So I have to unmute me.
He's
and, do this.
He takes a breath. He hits the button. He's like, my time.
And then I got to think really quick for my answer too.
I interrupted you.
I mean, so we hit the 50. We talked about that last time. Since the last weigh-in, just to give you a quick little update, I am going to give you some astonishing statistical news. It being that it's the 100th episode. Since the last weigh-in, I think I weighed in 2 times, and I did go down another 7-8 pounds.
What do you mean 7-8 pounds?
He says it's
because it's been it's been some time since the last weigh-in.
But for you to be even sustaining 2 pounds a week
is a lot.
That's impressive. That's like normal. So now you're doubling that. You said 8 pounds.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's great.
Should I put the claps in?
Yeah.
Do the claps. It's a lot.
So the astonishing statistical news, right? Since you guys like to throw body fat percentages and all this crap, and I'm 7.9 and I'm 16.2, whatever it is.
Thank you.
16.9.
Generous.
It's 16.9. I know.
Generous.
I forget. In the total span of this journey, this weight loss journey, I have lost, and now granted, this is not your what's it called? The InDesign?
Yeah, forget that thing. We're talking
that machine
about
This is the iFit, whatever.
I got an iFit treadmill now.
It's the weight, right?
Oh, okay.
Or the scale.
Scale.
I have lost 11.3% of body fat.
Wow.
According to that thing. I don't know if it's accurate. I don't know if it's real, but I know where it started, and I know that since then it's at least recorded an 11% deficit.
I mean, your
That's
total
incredible.
weight too.
And I would,
that percentage.
So although I'm not in the teens yet, or I'm not in the single digits yet.
I like that. Yeah, he said.
Yet
right.
we have decreased it.
And
by
I will
11%.
bet.
CV's gonna get to 10 before me.
No. that scale is off too. Like
Yeah,
I think it's
more.
lower.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I think that scale is
Yeah.
more, and I think your actual is lower than what it's what it's showing.
Would you do an in body just to like see what the hell's going on?
Would I?
Yeah.
I don't care, to be honest.
No, so here's the thing, right? It sounds like you like data, and it.
No,
You
you
think-
guys talk about data, so figuring. I mean, I do track it a little bit. Just
Yeah.
I guess it keeps me kind
I'm
of
not
relevant.
saying now, but like in the future, would that be something like the next
yeah,
thing?
no,
We're like,
I-
all right, I'm ready for
I
in body,
wouldn't-
figure it out.
I would never say no to anything.
Right.
Really, they forced me to do this, so here we are.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
There we are.
So I guess if you ask me 10 more times, maybe on the
I have
11th,
20
I'll be
cameras
like,
in my basement.
Right.
you know?
Well, TV showing myself. I don't know what's going on here. No, man, it's been fun and encouraging and inspiring even for myself to see that all aspects of our lives still got a long way to go, all of us, and in every facet. But the main goal is progress, and if we're not living a life committed to progress, throughout the struggles, the adversity that we always talk about, then what are we really doing? Right. So it's nice to know that all three partners in the No Snooze brand and this No Snooze podcast are living the actual life itself. Right.
Beautiful.
All right. So got a little funny piece here. Segment. Yeah. It's about 6 minutes here. And I want to see, our reaction to some of the bloopers. And we have some clips that we want to show. So just give us one moment as we pick up the TV that we kicked onto the ground, and we will get this playing for you guys. Hopefully the audio and the visual works. If not, then you got to look at CV. Can you turn it up, Mikey? What are you doing?
I don't want to break it.
No, you got to. Oh, look at the bicep. Was that how my bicep looks at 7%?
Or is it okay?
Look at that. No, that's good. Let me just share my screen. CV. Let me know if this works. I am checked in to the TV. Yep. I am on. Okay, perfect.
Am I supposed to be bringing up?
So bring up that video, Mike. We're gonna try to show it on the TV here for you guys, and then we're gonna play. So go back to the beginning and
Ready, 3,
2. Yep.
Nonsense words that don't need to be there. When you're at a restaurant,
Yeah.
and for you, sir, just water. You've never said that?
just water. Yeah.
Just water?
People say just
Right.
water.
So I'll
at the way we
just
look,
take
too.
the only thing
I think I
that
look the
keeps me
same.
alive.
I don't.
Do you understand that though?
No.
No?
No. Do you?
It's your life.
I still don't understand him either.
Okay.
He's nuts.
I don't.
It's
you understand
not just water. Okay. It's not just a job.
By the way, someone's
Okay.
definitely going to call up.
It's not just a game.
You get the point
See?
of it? No. Okay, then
Not
you're a
changed.
rock. We'll move on.
This next one is basically the story of how I bagged my beautiful wife.
I really want to take you on a nice date, but here's the thing. I
This was
haven't
on Zoom,
worked
I
in a
guess,
couple
huh?
weekends.
OG
He's the
hats,
caddy
too.
then. He's like, I
Yeah,
haven't
OG.
worked in a couple weekends, so like you're gonna have to pay, but I'm gonna pay you back.
Dang.
Why
But
she's
I'm
so
gonna
aggressive.
pay you
Right?
back.
Dang.
But I'm gonna.
That's a fire move,
But
though, right?
next weekend when I go,
locked in the
I'm gonna-
follow-up.
I got
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Like, I'm
yeah.
gonna
Got
pay you
it.
back everything you paid. And I was like,
This is pre-baby, huh?
first in my mind, I was like, well,
Yeah.
that's sweet that he wants to take
Pre-baby,
me, right?
COVID,
What
we're
is
all in
this?
different rooms.
He was so attracted to you that I'm gonna risk looking
You
like an
can give me
idiot
an eye
and
on you.
hit on this girl
Yeah.
and tell her I want to take you on
Yeah,
a
my
nice
hearing's
duet.
not crazy.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, and I'll pay you back.
But you're
That
gonna
is fire.
pay.
I think it's pretty smooth, no? I think it's pretty good.
I've never heard that story, and that is incredible. I
Right?
wish I
I
knew
think
that
this next
story.
one is us. No, we're good. Is us basically bagging on Michael.
I saw the No Snooze guy at the gym this
Dang it.
morning. I think I go to the gym with him.
Was it me?
I don't think she was at Equinox.
Was she at Equinox?
She
No,
wasn't
she
at
wasn't at
Equinox.
Equinox.
and Janine was like, his name is Dave.
So you have a posse. How many are you up to now?
We got 4 strong on Thursdays.
I have no one.
Well,
I
just gotta walk on the
when you go. So I'm like, can I walk on the treadmill with you? There's someone that walks behind me.
Not for nothing, though. People must think you're hilarious. For the first 3 weeks or a month and a half, you were going to Equinox to do push-ups in a corner by yourself, and now you go to Equinox.
To walk.
You have a
I walk for an hour and a
$200
half.
membership to walk on a treadmill, right?
So listen, I walk. I
Oh my
also
God.
answer emails. I do a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Yeah,
You're the walk
and
king.
I'm sure you really need that. What's the stuff you pre-workout?
That's hilarious, Dana. Dana's the best.
What's that stuff
It's gonna
you
keep
need?
going. This next one. Which one is this one?
By the way, stellar cutting. Is this giving you anxiety, CV? The way he's cutting?
Oh yeah.
Do you feel any? You might think I'm crazy, all right? I believe that I
Yeah,
feel
that's in
pregnancy
towards the end. Yeah.
symptoms.
Like in your
this one
body?
missed
In my body.
I said
there
that.
are
You feel
days.
kicking in your stomach?
No, not kicking.
That's just your poor diet.
my body. It's just weird. And you were like,
surprised
that's
we
just your
haven't-
terrible
I'm
diet.
surprised we haven't got canceled.
Yeah, right.
Namaste. I like that. Namaste, Reg.
No,
This
namaste.
was James
not
McClellan.
namaste.
Oh,
Namaste. The pasta.
Pasta.
Namaste.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
That was in the basement. We've been all over the place
Yeah.
Tom, with this
Well,
pod.
there's one oh yeah.
When I go out to dinner, whether it's Applebee's or it's Benjamin's Steakhouse or STK or the most expensive place in the world, I don't want to look to the right. I don't want to keep looking to the right. I want to read what I want for dinner, and as I
What's on the right?
the price tag, Mike.
Yeah.
The price tag.
That was when we didn't even we sounded crazy.
Why? That was. I mean, that's a
I don't know.
fair thing.
What is No Snooze?
This is
I'm
one of the best
fucking
ever.
No Snooze.
That was amazing.
I'm telling you, I'm fucking
This
No
was
Snooze.
CV recording us.
Yeah, we were delusional.
So
I was
you're
delusional
No
at the
Snooze.
time.
We
I was so
almost
tired.
quit the podcast.
What am I? Kinda snooze?
Sir, snooze a lot.
You're
Snooze a lot. Dude, I've been getting up at 5 for fucking 2 months now.
But
I
yeah.
am No Snooze.
Snooze. Yeah, I mean, you're on the No Snooze committee. You can join the party. You can't sit at the table yet.
See?
I think we had a couple of
See,
drinks.
this is what I'm
Yeah,
talking about. That's great.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
11 o'clock
See?
at night.
It's fucking good.
Haven't put out an
And he's
episode
like,
yet.
You can't be off the cuff. That's off the cuff.
That's off the cuff.
And we were watching
I am
ourselves
a No
again.
Snooze
Look at
kid.
my hands. What am I doing? Look at my fucking hands.
This is the all grid hands. What am I doing though? And now I'm just
What am I
like this.
doing?
I had a flashback at our latest videos.
Oh my
Clapping
God.
Too much.
Yo, hilarious. And I think this one.
This
Yes,
is
this
the
one's
inception of the Fitness and Finance
This is-
podcast with Dave and Mike.
I like
Yes.
this. We're
rolling,
we should
right?
do No Snooze.
We're rolling.
Wait, what? You have to. We have to talk into it
I
every
didn't even
time.
know we had to talk.
Why didn't
You
you?
know the microphone.
Is that what
works.
podcast does? Holy.
No Snooze Podcast. I'm your co-host.
What's your name?
That was kind of a cool setup with the arms.
This podcast is for those who don't snooze on life, those who attack their goals. It
should've had
all
that voice.
starts now.
It's Audio and Claudio. Claudio and Audio. Okay. Ready to rock?
Virtual high five.
High five,
See if we
kid.
can do it.
We're at Liberty Bibbity Park.
Yeah, these were all the cuts of us saying in like the first episode.
Then we're
Why are we so
back.
bad?
Welcome to the No Snooze podcast.
What are the techniques?
And then what about and we're back? Do you think I should do the and we're back?
So you're calling me frail,
No.
ugly, unibrow, beard is trash.
Finally, don't fuck up the shot. Dave. Just breaks.
Like Dave, he's very into women's fashion.
Yeah. He has an opinion. We're gonna Mad Lib it or whatever it's called. Ad lib it. Where's my camera?
Yeah, it's way up.
Me llamo Miguelito y David Regina. So you know what I've done lately in videos? I'm a problem solver. Beautiful.
I didn't know when you changed profession.
It's a metaphor.
Like a politician.
Fuck these guys.
We're live. We're back with this episode 40. They're all. It's just,
Yeah, that was fire.
Yeah, and
they just yell. You ever see the Crudes?
No.
So what's a big ear look like for you, bad boy?
Yeah. Bad boy. Camera's on me. How do I look?
Stretch.
So yeah, man. I mean,
We see that
you know,
quick.
looking back
Hilarious.
at these clips, we were pretty atrocious. No, Michael, would you agree?
Pretty.
Pretty
I would
bad.
say you're critical of us.
I don't know. About
I think
that,
we
man.
sound the same.
No
It's
way.
Just we're talking about different things.
Hell no.
No?
Hell no. Hell no. Even the way that I was delivering, like on certain things.
Well,
I just,
you sucked. I was fine.
Yeah,
I'm
for
joking.
real though.
I'm joking.
That's how I feel. It was absolutely awful.
Joking. My dad tells a story about them playing like softball.
Yep.
And a couple of my uncles weren't the best like baseball players, and I guess someone hit a pop-up fly and didn't get it. And my dad said to my uncle Stevie and was like, "Hey, we suck." And he's like, "No, Frank, we don't suck. They suck."
They suck. That's good. No, man. So listen, I think you know, for the 100th, it's more about the reflective piece to what we have been able to accomplish over the past 2.5 years.
It was fun to look back. I have to say,
right?
Very fun.
It's it truly is.
I don't do it a lot. Do you do it a lot? You look back a lot. I don't look
No, definitely not this far.
Yeah.
You know, on something like this.
Sometimes though it calms you though.
Yes. And I have one more piece to look back on, and this will bring us to my favorite section, Dave's Dime of the Week.
Dimes. We still have nothing in the budget
We still have nothing in the
for a
budget.
voiceover.
So this is actually our very first Instagram post ever.
Oh Jesus!
So-
right, let me see if I remember what it was.
Mind you, it is, so it's a picture of Mike and I, and this was in September of 2019. We didn't drop our first episode because, mind you, this was the next day after Mike and I spoke. We didn't drop our first episode until January, right? So this was the caption of it, and it says, Dave Regina, left. I'll show the picture here, 29, and Mike Pirelli, right, 29. I guess we were the same age? No, we were 28,
Yeah,
29.
we could be 29.
Oh, yeah, true. Are joining forces to bring you
Hilarious already.
the No Snooze podcast, launching January 6th, 2020. No Snooze is a mindset geared towards attacking your day, whether it be your fitness, finances, relationships, family, business, etc. Our mission is to share our experiences, provide actionable tips to create pivotal change, and be an encouraging source for young and middle-aged professionals. By no means are we claiming to be experts, as we understand that every day is a learning experience and opportunity to work harder than yesterday. Progress over perfection is our motto. Join the No Snooze family today. Right? So we put that up.
What an infomercial.
Hey, right? But think about that. We put that up in September of 2019.
Yeah.
Couldn't even get anything together until January. So the point is, if you really do want something in life, you got to put in the actionable steps to take progress moving forward.
Got to get the reps.
Even though it might take a couple months to even put one thing out, we believed in what we did.
100%. Right? This is how ADD works. I'm just remembering I left my lunch in the car and it's probably spoiled.
And it's probably spoiled.
Point being, I heard what you said and I agree, but looks like I'm not eating lunch today.
So guys, we want to say thank you. Every one of you guys that tune in for either one or all 100. We thank you for the support.
Yep.
You can check out the latest merch as you see behind us, NoSnoozeShop.com.
Yep.
Like, subscribe, do all the stuff.
If you made it this far, you might as well subscribe because you're in it. You're in this. You're
That's
part
right.
Of it.
So until next time, stop snoozing.
Get up and get after it.
Listen, cheers to another 100, boys.
CV, high fives.
That's another Effie in the books. Go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at No Snooze Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Snooze.